Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess from BehatiLife. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is your weekly astro and intuitive forecast for the week of March 12th, 2018. There are two major themes and things that I must talk about because they are game changers. The first one is the fact that last week Jupiter went retrograde. Now, if you look anywhere on the internet, there's so many people saying and panicking that Jupiter is now that it's retrograde, that all blessings are going to dry up. We're not going to experience any more opportunities. This is the worst thing that could ever happen because Jupiter gives us blessings in abundance. I have to say right now, check yourself before you wreck yourself. I can't stress enough that there is no planet that is all good or all bad. Even Pluto and Saturn have their bonuses and also their negatives. Even Jupiter, the planet of abundance, can totally be a thorn in the bottom of your foot. This is something that I talked about in detail on my blog, BehatiLife blog. I'll link that down below. So for those of you guys who are loyal members of my tribe, you've definitely heard me say this before time and time again, but I have to reiterate it for those that are brand new. So Jupiter is a planet that gives abundance and blessings and expansion and growth to everything that it touches for the most part. But some things we don't really want to grow and expand. We saw that last year. I predicted this last year, a month before it happened, that Jupiter moving into the sign of Scorpio was going to highlight and bring some areas of focus that normally would have lay a little dormant. Now, it depends on your chart. It depends on your actions that you have taken in your past life. But Jupiter, again, will kind of, it's almost like you take a balloon and you blow into the balloon and that air starts to, get bigger and bigger, and then sometimes it pops. So we saw in history, or we saw in the media, that there were celebrities or people in higher positions of power who were being outed for their devious and nasty behaviors, to be quite honest and frank with you. So the fact that Jupiter was in the sign of Scorpio, we would have to look and see, what does Scorpio rule? What type of energy does it rule? And Scorpio connects to sex, intimacy, loans, money, death, transformation, transition. All of those things were connected and all of those things are being highlighted. Did I say intimacy? Because that was another thing too that I wanted us to look into, was how, and power and power struggles and how we kind of push ourselves or manipulate others. These are things that Jupiter would then kind of highlight. So depending on your chart and depending on the actions that you have taken to get you up until this point, Jupiter was either going to bring that to a good or bring it to a head in a good way or a positive way. And you know what? The universe always sorts the good from the evil. The universe always kind of deals karma in the way that it directly should be handled. So for us, you never have to worry about things. As long as you are good and you're golden, you have nothing to worry about. Let karma sort things out for themselves. So that's something that we saw. Now, that was mainstream media, so that's going on up here. What you are probably most concerned about is yourself. Now, the thing that I think about, the biggest change and influence that I want to say that I'm going to see a lot of people notice within their own lives is this energy and focus on your finances. Oh my gosh, I said this last week in one of the videos before. I saw taxes, I saw loans, I saw student loans, I saw savings accounts, financial dealings across the board. And really what happens when Jupiter, again, is a positive planet for the most part, but no planet is all good or all bad. Jupiter can expand and make us dive into spending more. Jupiter can expand our finances and our wallet in a good way, so more money comes in as far as loans. But if that truly is the case, if you are taking out loans or if you are getting accepted for loans, then your debt kind of increases. So there's positive and negative to everything. So that's one thing that I saw within the chart, is that for some people, finances and spending are totally going to be highlighted and be brought to your attention. If you have been spending a lot or taking it out a lot, or working on your spirituality, your intimacy, connecting with others. These are things that now you might want to like scale back, especially when it comes to finances. Jupiter kind of goes within and needs to kind of pull back and to reassess and to reevaluate. That's anytime you see a retrograding planet, that's what they're doing, is that power of that planet is now going inward and reevaluating and kind of structuring itself. So someone said to me on my Instagram, Jess, does this mean that since Jupiter is now retrograde in Scorpio, that means that it's exiting out of Scorpio? No, not necessarily. When a planet goes retrograde, that just means that it's moving in backward motion, so it's retracing its steps. So Jupiter says, oh, I left some things behind, let me go back a little bit. So the fact that Jupiter is so far into Scorpio, it's not going to completely exit out of the sign of Scorpio. But it will retrace its steps. Jupiter is so slow to move that I don't see it. It's not going to exit out of the sign of Scorpio. So we're still going to see these elements of Scorpio energy still kind of showing it themselves. So to answer your question, girlfriend, no, Jupiter is not going to exit out of the sign of Scorpio. Any retrograde planet, when it goes retrograde, it doesn't mean that it's going to exit out of that sign. It just means that it's going to retrace its steps. Now, Jupiter is going to be retrograde until July 10th, I believe, 2018. So this is some time for us to go back. The metaphor and the image that I got when I was looking at the chart was an image of a hurricane, well, a tropical storm. And I'm from Florida, where the sun is always shining, but we do have some crazy storms down there. I don't live in Florida now, but at one point I did for a good portion of my life. And what it reminded me of looking at the chart is this tropical storm that is here gathering strength and power over the Gulf of Mexico, so over warm waters. And basically that's what it is that I'm seeing when I'm looking at Jupiter retrograde, is this planet that is building its resources, it's building its energy. Now, granted, a lot of people look at hurricanes as a negative thing or as a bad thing because, of course, they cause destruction and terrible effects a lot of times. But nature created these hurricanes in order to come in and cleanse the earth and cleanse our space. Now, Jupiter is not working to cleanse. That's more of a Plutonic or Pluto, like the emphasis and energy of Pluto that would do something like that. But really what it is that I'm trying to say is that Jupiter is now, instead of giving a lot of abundance and giving a lot of expansion, it's going within and building within itself, building its power, so that when it goes direct again, it really does come in like a hurricane of explosion, and the tidal wave of whatever it is that it's wanting to give to you opens up, and those blessings or whatever it is comes flowing in. Now, granted, for a lot of people, Jupiter does act as a positive influence, but I've also seen Jupiter kind of work against people who are trying to diet. You know what I mean? So you're trying to diet, but then you find yourself eating more, being more lazy. Jupiter is notorious for making people lazy. And of course, expansion, your waist starts to expand, okay? So these are things too that there's two sides to every coin. There's never one negative thing. There's never one negative sign. I am so tired of seeing Instagram, social media, blogs, kind of like building up the energy of something in order to gain clicks or momentum on their page. What you're doing is you're creating confusion and chaos for the masses and recycling that information. People respect those Instagram accounts. People respect those blogs, so they recycle that information, and that negative energy just circulates. So that's really why I want to take some time to kind of focus on, again, both the positive and the negative. You'll see that on my Instagram all the time. I'm never going to tell you one aspect of that planet. I'm going to do my best to share with you guys all, because it affects and influences us all very differently. Not only just, across the board, but it really truly depends on your natal chart, how your natal chart is situated. And you'll start to see the clues of that anyways. So going back to what it was that I was talking about, Jupiter being retrograde. So really what it's doing is kind of what Jupiter, the other thing too that I was seeing when I was looking at the chart is, I don't want to say gratitude, but a revisiting blessings that have already come into your life. So I understand, and I am not notorious, but I'm guilty of this as well. We get so excited when we have new opportunities that come into our lives, and it's so exciting. Of course it is, because we're like, okay, a new opportunity. And then we kind of look for that next high. We kind of, oh, look, there's Moochie. Hi, Bubba. He's like, shut up. I'm in the woods right now, woman. All right. Well, there you go. You guys haven't seen him for a while, and everyone's been asking, how's Moochie? He's fine. He's here. He's in the new space. So, anyways, what was I saying? Super distracted. Oh, so we get so sometimes we get so caught in the high of chasing the next gain, the next opportunity, the next resource, the next whatever, that we miss and we ignore what we tried so hard to accomplish before. So when Jupiter is the planet, delegated by the gods, God, divine, to give to us blessings and abundance. So if we work so hard for that moment to get the good news in the past, like the last year, then this is a time for us to revisit that old blessing and work it. Remember that image that I got of that tropical storm, which is building energy again before it kind of explodes in a tidal wave. It says, go back to those old opportunities that you once were praying for, you once were setting intention, and make them magical again. Pay attention to me. Pay attention to me. Sometimes the other thing that I saw when I was looking at the chart, and I wrote in the recent blog, I'll link that down below, is sometimes we miss our blessings because we're so used to seeing them that we don't realize that how much of an impactful and important blessing it is in our life, and we become so accustomed to chasing the next, whatever the next thing is. So when Jupiter goes retrograde, we then need to take steps and to revisit those old blessings and to see the worth and the value in them and give them attention, because by catering to them and nurturing them back into a space of making sure that they're able to thrive and abundance, that then has a lot of opportunity that can come from it. So don't forget that as human beings here on the physical world, we sometimes ignore, or sometimes we can't see all that is there for us. But the divine, the higher power, knows that there is unlimited potential and there's so much out there. So that's when we again need to kind of revisit and rework what it is that we have. And that's why the planets kind of move forward and then dance back, because it's like this balance that needs to happen. And we look to the skies, we look to the stars to see where we're at and what we need to be doing in order to capitalize on the energy around us. So that was one thing too that I wanted everyone to do and to take to be aware of for this week. And while Jupiter was retrograde, instead of losing your mind and being like, oh my God, blessings and opportunity are going to dry up, this is going to be the last, I can't wait for Jupiter to go direct again. If you're truly thinking that, you're missing the bigger picture. You're missing a really important part. And I really want to encourage you to revisit those blogs that are really saying, like, Jupiter retrograde is going to dry you out and dry those opportunities out. Don't give any planet too much power. Ultimately the power is within you and the divine. Work your magic. Work your magic, girl. Okay? So that's one thing that I saw as we looked at this chart. The next thing is the fact that we have a stunning new moon in the sign of Pisces. Now, you've heard me talk about Pisces all last month for the most part, the last 3 weeks almost. And people are freaking out over Pisces energy because Pisces energy can be ethereal and we can kind of lose our step in the depths of the Pisces ocean. But there's a reason for that. All of these signs play a very important place within our lives, and none of them are there to create a headache for us. They're meant to transform us into our highest and greatest version of ourselves. So Pisces, this new moon in Pisces, I'm absolutely in love with it. I don't care if you're a fire sign and you hate the element of water. You have to learn to work with everything. If you're a really truly powerful manifester, powerful magic maker, then there should be nothing that can stop you from making powerful magic. No element, no nothing. So for you to better understand magic and intention and energy, you have to then not allow something to steal of your power. you have to then stand up in your power and realize, like, this is maybe my weakness, but as a powerful manifester, as a powerful magic maker, I know how to turn even my weakness into my greatest strength. That's what I want for every single one of my followers on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Okay, so work with these energies. I say this time and time again, that if you fight the wave, you will drown. If you learn to ride the wind, you will be taken somewhere completely magical that you wouldn't have even been able to get there by yourself. And also, you have to keep in mind that divine spirits, guides are working for your highest and greatest good, even when you don't think that they are, even when you don't notice that they are. So if they are redirecting you, then follow the flow of this energy, and that's directly connected to the cosmos. Don't forget that, okay? Share that message. Don't share, you know, the drama that's causing clicks for other people's accounts and Instagrams, etc., etc. No shade, but I mean, come on, let's be honest here. The other thing that I was seeing for this week is the fact that, and for this new moon, oh my gosh, inspired action. I said this last week, and this is because Mars is so ambitious. Mars is in the sign of Sagittarius and is asking us to get out and to see the bigger picture and to take steps in the ways that we normally wouldn't have. Sometimes, again, we limit ourselves. We just came out of that full moon in Virgo, which was encouraging us to be more practical. But the very opposite energy of Virgo is Pisces. And Pisces says, you know what is out there? I have this feeling, I have this hunch, and I want to discover it, and I want to, like, bring that into my life. How do I do that? What is this feeling that I have within me? It was given to me by God. It has to be, because I feel so pulled. I feel so called. That's what Pisces energy gives to you. Now, on this new moon, I have to say that a lot of people set intentions for new beginnings on a new moon. But really, the new moon is very dark and very quiet. I felt this for years, even when I was doing my research on the phases of the moon. My spiritual study, everyone would say that the new moon is all about these new beginnings, these like setting intentions. But I myself, I would feel the energy of the new moon and be like, I feel still, I feel quiet, I feel reflective, I feel kind of like pulling back, kind of like withdrawing. And that's because the new moon is actually considered a dark moon, which is a highly reflective and highly quiet time. If you see on my blog that I wrote for BehatiLife, on BehatiLife blog, I said that, you know, when you let the waters kind of still themselves, you're actually able to see. And then your feelings become clear. Your intuition becomes clear because the waters are no longer murky. Pisces rules the ocean. Pisces rules those deep waters. Pisces rules the intuition and that stillness. So during the new moon, I really want to encourage people to calm themselves, to still themselves, so that the water, the chaos that's been going on around them, and there has been a lot of dust that's been kicked up these last months. You guys see it in my personal life, and I've also seen it in you guys' personal life, and I've been talking about it for weeks to come, that there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of movement that's going on, a lot of chaos that's getting kicked up. So part of this is, again, the energy of Mars just like being so overly ambitious and so excited and excitable. It's like these little jumping beans just kind of bouncing around, a chicken with its head cut off. And we see that around us, and we can get so caught up because there's a lot of stuff that's going on. There's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of movement. But there comes a moment when balance is everything, and you have to kind of balance that out by creating stillness and going within. And that's what I see with this new moon, is, again, connecting with your intuition. I saw this so strongly that there are people who need to receive messages. People need to hear from their angels, from spirit, from their guides. Go to your sacred space. For a lot of people, sometimes that means I'm going to go sit in the bathtub. For others, it means I have to go sit in a jacuzzi. I'm going to go to the ocean. I'm going to go into my circle, my sacred space, my little Zen den, wherever it is that I need to go in order to reconnect within myself, in order to hear the voice that I need to hear. Pisces rules that. The other thing, too, is that Mercury in the sign of Aries, Venus in the sign of Aries, it's very high energy. But Mercury and Venus are like brother and sister, Hansel and Gretel having the time of their lives. But they also need you to be open to hearing messages, and not because they're sitting in the sign of Aries, because Aries is actually way more forward, way more aggressive, but it's this element and this ethereal energy of the element of Pisces that's kind of like still kind of rippling itself throughout our week. And the fact that Jupiter, which a lot of people don't know this, but Jupiter traditionally ruled the sign of Pisces. Right now, Pisces is ruled by Neptune in current modern day time. But before that, Jupiter ruled the ruled the sign of Pisces, and for very good reason, because it's connected to the spiritual guru. Jupiter is that spiritual guru. So sometimes it's for those that are going on the spiritual journey or spiritually seeking. When Jupiter was direct, we were looking for a guru. We were looking for a spiritual leader, a high priestess. When Jupiter then goes retrograde, I see that saying, you know what, let me consult myself. Let me consult my oracle. Let me consult my spirit guides, my ancestors. So those are some things I see here. For this week, when you do have a hunch of inspired action, by all means, act on it. Please act on it. I said this like last week and the week before that when Mars was moving through Sagittarius and playing with Uranus, it was creating these impulses, action. Mars is all about action. Uranus is the planet of surprise and unexpected developments, and eureka, that eureka moment. So when Mars and Uranus come together in this way, we really do have these moments of like inspired action that requires you to make moves on it. So as you're sitting in that sacred space, working to connect with your intuitive messages and your intuitive guides, you'll have that, I need to move. I need to do this. I need to write this down. This is my idea. I need to act on it. Those impulses, they need to be taken so seriously. This week, Mars will be moving into the sign of Capricorn. This will be on the 17th, which looks like it's going to be a Saturday. Yes, see, on the Saturday, which is also on the new moon. And Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn is so highly motivated and will stick with something for the long haul. And Mars says, I can give you my best. If Capricorn can support me, I can power through and I can continue to give what I can do and do what I can do in order to make your life magical, amazing. So that's something else that I am seeing here that I want you guys to put a star next to within your calendars, is the fact that, again, Mars moving to the sign of Capricorn really wants you to be serious and wants you to take that traveling that you did the weeks before and that mental expansion and looking out on the horizon and, you know, weighing like, okay, normally I wouldn't look here. Normally I wouldn't say yes to this, but I'm going to look here and I'm going to say yes to this and watch what comes from that, because really it wants you to kind of break away from your normal comfort zones. That's the other thing too about the planet Uranus, is it says, look, you have to try something different. You can't keep doing the same thing all the time and expect a different result. It's going to be the same thing again and again and again. So that's something that I see for this new moon is, again, even though there's a lot of action, a lot of activity, it's still very important for this weekend, on Saturday and the days to come, and the days around that, for you to really kind of sit and ground and listen to your intuition, your hunches, and at least give the chance for the waters to kind of still, for you to be able to get those messages and that information coming in. All right. I did pull some cards for you guys. Of course I did. Let me see if I can grab them really quickly. Okay. The first two that jumped out for this week is the Sun and Four of Cups. Now, when I saw this, I saw instantly how much sometimes the universe really does reward someone who is stubborn with what it is that they want. In fact, that was how I started this week off on my Instagram, was talking about how the universe really truly does reward a stubborn heart, someone who knows what it is that they want. Now, Pisces knows, like, Pisces does not work with logic. Pisces energy, this new moon, works with intuition. Things that are sometimes beyond us, things that are connected to the divine, things that we can't figure out by ourselves all alone. We need to ask for the angels, the guides, and for the support of, you know, things that are far beyond us that sometimes we can't even see. That's what Pisces gives to us. And some paths that we're meant to take are not, you know, will not make sense to others. Some people believe in true love, or believe in true love at just the right time in their lives when before they doubted it. And that's because their soul, their spirit, their intuition is saying, look, just be open to this. Look for this now. Now, the rest of the world can say, be cautious. This isn't practical. This isn't realistic. but the rest of the world doesn't feel what you feel. The rest of the world doesn't understand what it is that you want for yourself and how happy it's going to make you. And Pisces is very idealistic. Pisces says that, you know what is your happily ever after? Ask for that, because that's potential. And everyone's happily ever after is totally different. So you can't look to others for their advice and their counsel, because they don't understand, because they're going after their happily ever after. All right, my loves. So when I saw these two cards, I saw be very stubborn and stand your ground when it comes to pursuing your happiness, when it comes to pursuing what is going to make you happy and give you light and love every single day. Connect with that inner joy, because that truly is what is so important. The Four of Cups is notoriously known for people, you know, when you look at this card, you're like, oh, he's discontent, like, oh, he's not happy with his situation. Absolutely. But no card is an island, and you always have to look at the surrounding cards in order to understand the message that that card is trying to give to you. And the other card that I pulled is from the Goddess Oracle, and that is Bridget, don't back down. And again, who is more stubborn? And really, I don't even want to call it stubborn. I want to call it determined. Who is more determined than the Four of Cups? Saying, you know what? I don't want that. I want this. I want my life to look like this. This is what I know to be true for me. This is my pursuit of happiness. All right, you guys, so I love you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Definitely make sure that you are following me on Instagram, because we do live chats every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, we just hit 10,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. Didn't see that coming, but I'm so happy for it, and I'm so grateful. So if anything, it encourages me even more, even though there wasn't anything that was going to stop me from posting videos anyways, because I love this. And it, you know, if I wasn't doing this here, I would just be talking to the walls, telling the walls astrologically, this is what's going on, walls, be aware. All right, so I'm out for now. But again, please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel, because there's plenty more where that came from. And those thumbs up and those comment down below, all of those make a difference. And I always read your comments, and I love them. Okay, so we'll talk soon. Bye.